Today we're taking you step by step through our decision making as we go through the first 50 turns on Deity Difficulty. If you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell to keep up with the channel. So I chose to play with Teddy today because it happens to be July 4th, so I just want to take a quick second to say Happy Independence Day to my neighbors to the north. With that being said, some of their stuff doesn't really apply to us since we're only doing the first 50 turns with them, but they do have the Roosevelt Corollary, I think. Units receive +5 combat strength on their home continent, +1 appeal to all tiles in a city with a national park, and they gain the Rough Rider unique unit when they research the rifling technology. So obviously most of that's not going to apply to us, however that +5 combat strength will, so that's probably going to be something that we're going to be looking at. And then the Founding Fathers ability here, all diplomatic policy slots in the current government are converted to wildcard slots, so that's definitely a nice little perk they have here. Plus they get +1 diplomatic favor per turn for every wildcard slot in their government. So again, it's quite a nice little bonus. It's not huge and game breaking by any means, but that can add up fairly quickly. And in case you don't know, even if you're not going for a diplomatic game, the AIs value diplomatic favor like nothing else. You can trade sometimes like less than 20 diplomatic favor for like 300 or 400 gold at a pop from the civilization, so it's definitely a nice little bonus there. Alright, so let's take a look here and see what we got. It actually looks like a pretty decent starting location. We got a lot of production in here. We got some luxury resources too. Now I think we're actually going to move one slot over and we're going to settle on the Jade here. This is because it's going to still allow us to get this sick campus over here. We'll pop that down so we don't forget about that. But with the 2 geothermal fissures plus the mountain, that's going to be a +5 campus. Now, the reason why I'm moving is because we're going to be able to... Now, the reason why I'm moving is that I want to get away from the desert over here because desert tiles are pretty well garbage. Plus, it has the added advantage of getting us closer to more hills over here. We're still close to the stone. On top of that, we're gonna be settling on the Jade, so we'll have that available to trade as soon as we meet somebody. Not to mention, it actually gives us another hill to build a mine on later on in the game. So all in all, those are the reasons why I'm deciding to move here. And it's a quick move. I mean, we're still settling on turn 1 as well, so it's not like we're losing anything at all by doing this. So we're going to get that +1 air score because we settled on the river. Now we're going to get started. We're actually going to get started on a scout first and foremost. We want to be able to get out there. We want to be able to get out there as quickly as we can and start meeting enemy civilizations, see the territory around us so we can find a good spot to settle our second city, as well as grabbing as many goody huts as we possibly can before the age ends so that we can get our air score up and hopefully at least get a normal age in the classical era, if not a golden age. Now, as far as what we're going to be researching here, I think obviously going towards a campus is a good idea. Now, as far as what we're going to be researching here, I think obviously going towards writing so we can get this nice campus unlocked is a good idea, but we don't really have to bum rush there because there's really no need. For one, we want to keep the option open to have some early war because we have that +5 combat strength as the Americans on our continent, so I'm probably going to look to conquer my first neighbor as long as there's some decent land giving me reason enough to do so. Now, so with that being said, while we will go towards writing in the near future, I think that we're much better off taking mining first off because we'll be able to have a much easier time getting the bonus to craftsmanship over here by improving 3 tiles. So that's going to make our life a lot easier if we can get that up as quickly as we can. So that's why we're going to head towards mining first. Now, after we get mining, we'll kind of reassess the situation and decide whether we're going to go into animal husbandry and archery for defense / possibly offense, or just kind of make our way straight towards writing after that and get our campus up as early as we can. And again, all of that's going to kind of depend on, you know, our AIs that we meet or don't meet for that matter, and you know, just what our overall situation is, but we'll cover that as we go. So we got the bonus here for foreign trade, so we discovered another continent, which is nice. Now it looks like this mountain range here is pretty big and long, which is most likely what is separating the continent. So ideally we want to take a quick look here at the continent lens. So if you don't know, you can either come to it manually by clicking on lenses here, or just press number 2 on your keypad, which I prefer to do. So it's gonna show us here that the continent divide is right here. So I'm gonna actually take my warrior and head down this way because we want to find somebody that is on our continent. I don't want to head over onto the next one until we're basically looking to just find somebody to trade with. I do want to find more city locations and hopefully a victim on our continent so that we can really take advantage of that +5 air score we get as the Americans. So now with that being said, we'll just continue exploring with our warrior here. And it looks like there's a nice lake separating us too, so that'll be nice and easy. With our scout, we probably will go to the northeast over here. Now, if you're a newer player, I would definitely not suggest you explore too far with your warriors, as ever since the new patch came out in June, the barbarians are a lot more active in the early game. So you want to have your barbarian close by if you're not comfortable defending yourself. One thing, even if you are a new player, to keep in mind is that if you only have one city up like this, and say for instance if you don't happen to get a builder up and you're not improving your tiles or whatever right away, barbarians actually can't do shit to your capital whatsoever. They can't burn it to the ground, they can't do anything other than possibly burn tiles, which if you don't have any improved, they can't do anything at all until you settle a second city. So that is something to keep in mind. It might make you feel a little bit better if you're feeling overwhelmed. Okay, so we did find that goody hut over here. We're going to head over and grab it as quickly as we can. So unfortunately it's just a +40 gold, but I mean it could be worse. Now, as we said, we were going to head to the northeast here with the scout. I think what I'm going to do here, now that we have the scout taken care of, is I'm actually going to go straight into a builder. I don't normally do this. However, I really do want to get 3 tiles improved and get our production up, because I'm hoping that we do find somebody that we can kill it pretty quickly here. Now, taking a look around here, I think that we have a pretty decent area here to settle a second city in. So if you look at your lenses, which again you can either open up here, or to get the settler one, you can press number 4 on your keyboard. We have some decent spots here. I'm also going to switch this to strategy mode so it's easier for me to see the hills. Just I mean, I can see them here, but it just makes it so much easier at a quick glance here, for at least for me to do it this way. Now, I would consider settling this hill here, but I think we're going to be much better off actually coming down here. And the reason is because then we're going to have access to the hill tile with the sheep on it, which we can get improved right away for a +3, for a 3 food 2 production, or possibly even 3 yield tile right away, and then also have this 4 yield tile here with the 2 food and 2 production. So that gives us 2 really nice tiles to work immediately. Not to mention there's some other decent ones here that we can expand to fairly quickly after that. Now, I might possibly change my mind here. We're going to go ahead and drop the pin down so we don't forget. We'll drop the pin here, but we will take we will take a better look around with our warrior here, because if it makes sense and the land is good enough to do so, we might end up switching this after all and pulling the city closer up to our capital here and squeezing in a 3rd city. But again, we'll kind of play that by ear and as we take a better look around over there. Okay, so we met the Romans, so sure, we'll say it's an honor to meet you, and we'd love to sample your hospitality. So, looks like we lucked out, and the Romans are down on our capital here. I do believe this is still our capital. Or our capital, our continent, I should say. Yes, they are on our continent. So that is perfect. And depending on where they end up settling, because I'm assuming they're going to send more settlers out, but they're probably going to screw this location up, so we'll have to take another one down here somewhere. But then we'll have, with them being so close to us, I mean, it's within 10 tiles or so, so that's always nice. But it definitely makes war a lot more feasible, and we're going to try and get the most we can out of our +5 combat strength. So with that being said, we're going to head down here and try and get a better lay of the land, so we will be prepared for when we end up getting in that fight. It's nice that the drought it's nice that the drought that happened doesn't really impact any tiles that we're using, so at the moment we're not really impacted by it. We got Code of Laws here, so that's good. Now, if you're a beginning player if you're like a beginner player, or you're not really comfortable with defending with very little amounts of units, I would always suggest taking Discipline as the first policy card here, just to give yourself that little bit of an edge against the barbarians. However, I generally, more and more these days, unless I'm overwhelmed by barbarians, usually take Survey first, because I like to be able to try and get my Scout a quick promotion, and then switch out of Survey into Discipline after that. But that's only because I feel a lot more comfortable handling whatever the barbarians are going to be able to throw at me. Now, as far as the economic policies go, we are going to take God King, and again, I'd suggest this all the time unless you happen to be Indonesia or another one of the civilizations that has huge faith bonuses, or you happen to stumble upon a relic, because you want to get your Pantheon up as quickly as possible. So although urban planning is alluring with that +1 production, I think God King is generally the way to go in most of the circumstances. Now that we finished with that, we're going to go ahead here and start working on Craftsmanship. Now the reason behind this is because I want to get up to the Agoj policy slot. It's going to give us +50% production towards ancient and classical era melee, anti-cavalry, and ranged units, so we're going to do that. Not to mention, we're going to be getting that boost as soon as we get this builder out here in 5 turns, and that will help us research it. Now we're going to go across the river here with the warrior, and we can see they have a settler over there, so I'm assuming they're going to be headed our way with that pretty quickly. Now we have discovered a Barbarian Scout here, but I think we're just going to ignore it for the most part right now and keep moving towards the north with our Scout there. However, it doesn't look like we have much more to see. As we can see, there's coastline there, so we'll have to keep that in mind. We've managed to get mining, which is nice, and although I had mentioned wanting to head towards writing fairly quickly, we're going to go ahead and at least pick up Animal Husbandry, and then we'll reassess whether we go towards writing or towards archery to try and start taking some more aggressive actions towards the Romans. Ideally, I want to get them either completely killed or at least neutered before they get their early game unit, which replaces the swordsman. I think it's called the Legion off the top of my head, because it's very powerful. So we kind of have a short window here to inflict a lot of damage on them while they're still in our playing field, because our special units don't come until a lot later in the game. Okay, so it looks like they did head up towards the north with that settler, so that's good. With any luck, we still might be able to keep our same planned settling location there. Now, with the Scout, yeah, see, we've basically come as far as we can this way, so I think with the Scout now we'll start headed back down south here and kind of loop around. And I completely forgot until just now we had settled on that jade. So let's quickly talk to the Romans here and see if they'll give us anything for that jade. And it doesn't look like they're willing to be very generous here. Let's see just how much under 90 bucks they'll give us for it. Or under 100, I mean. Let's try 75. Stingy bastards. Alright, screw this. It's not worth it. Now, just so you know too, I would always suggest sending a delegation to somebody if you want to stay on good terms with them with the first turn you meet them. I didn't do it in this case because I'm planning on fighting the Romans, so in my opinion it would just be a waste of $25. Although it might actually have helped us get a better trade deal there if I had have sent it. That was kind of the reasoning behind not choosing it immediately. Well, at least attack their scout once here. Got 2 more turns on the builder. Okay, so let's head around the mountain pass here. It looks like there's a culture city-state if we can just get close to them. Ooh, and a nice little goodie hut there too. So it looks like we actually have a big shitty desert over here, so we'll try and avoid that as much as we can. But it should work out okay as long as we head towards Rome here. They don't seem to have any desert tiles in their area, so that'll definitely be nice. Now we're going to go ahead and get a slinger going here. Or a slinger, sorry. We're going to get a settler going. And then basically as soon as this settler is out, we're going to concentrate everything on producing military units, and we're just going to go bum rush the Romans as quickly as we can. So now as far as what we're going to improve, I think in this situation it just makes more sense to get the quarries online as quickly as we can, except for possibly that one there. So actually screw it, yeah, we'll just go get all 3 of them on. Or what am I talking about? I keep flip-flopping here. We're going to, instead of getting this one on, since it's only going to be a +2/+2, we'll just go ahead and get this mine on, because it will save a turn or 2 by having our warrior get the 3 things that are close by here, rather than having to travel over the hill and then over the river there just to improve that stone. So our scout here is going to take most of his turn. It's going to take an entire turn to get over the river, so we might as well cross the river and land on a hill so that we get more vision. Those are just small little things that go a long way into helping you discover more territory quicker, and in the end ultimately having a better opportunity of getting more goodie huts. Just small little things like that. Not to mention when you're moving, like avoiding terrain like hills and forests and jungles and whatnot when you can, unless obviously you happen to have been lucky enough to get your scout a promotion, which unfortunately we haven't been able to do. So we're going to go ahead and grab this goodie hut here. So we got a boost towards state workforce, which is actually pretty good because we just happen to be going down craftsmanship first, which will make it that much sooner until we can get a governor title up and running here. Not to mention it brings us one step closer towards political philosophy. The only crappy thing about it is that it's something that we were automatically going to get anyways, because I mean, who's not going to build a district? So it's one of the easier Eurekas to get. Or not Eureka's, inspiration, but you know what I mean. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this quarry improved. Let's find out who it is. Okay, so we got Vilnius here, and obviously we're a little bit late to the party, so we didn't get an envoy, but they do have a quest for us to send a trade route. So that's something that is nice and easy for us to do, not to mention it'll give us +2 culture, which in the early game goes a very long way. As you can see, we are only making +2.7 a turn right now. So essentially, if we can get a trader up and over to Vilnius here, we'll almost double our culture just by doing that one thing. Not to mention it's going to give you golden stuff anyway, so you always want to have your trade routes maximized as quickly as you can. Now here, there's not really any way that we can avoid the shitty territory, so we're just going to kind of muck through it. Okay, so it looks like a barbarian camp spawned. Unfortunately for us, we kind of miss out because it's not within 6 tiles of our capital, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see, it's 7 tiles away. And in case you don't know, you get 2 era score if it's more than 6 tiles away, but if it's 6 or under, you actually get 3 era score. And in the early game here, era score is hard to come by, so even that little difference adds up, especially if you can clear a barb camp or 2 before the era ends. Okay, so we're gonna keep looking with our scout here. We met another city-state. Unfortunately, it's just a faith-based one, so it's nothing really special for us. I think we're gonna head up this way and go towards the coast here. Yes, shut your mouth, Rome. Nobody cares.
There are no dogs in heaven. Then when I die...
Okay, so we got animal husbandry. Oops, sorry about that. Didn't mean to screw the screen up there so much. We've got animal husbandry now. Let's take a quick look around and see if we have any horses nearby. Unfortunately, none anywhere near where we're going to settle right away. But that's fine. So basically what we're going to do now is we're going to research most of archery to the point where we can easily get the boost if we kill somebody with a slinger. And then we're basically just going to crank out probably about 4 slingers or so, possibly even 5. And then with 1 warrior or 2, that should be enough that we can just head down and take out Rome with any luck before they get their legions up and running. Okay, so nice. We met the Russians here. Let's exchange information on our capitals. Now, if you're a newer player, sometimes I would suggest not exchanging information if you're worried about getting attacked early on. But considering how far away from our buildings the warrior was, that I'm completely comfortable doing this, as I want to see where they are, and they're nearby there, so that's nice. And now what we're going to do is, because I'm not planning on attacking the Russians, we're going to go ahead and send a delegation here quickly so that we have good relations with them. Alright, so now that we sent the delegation, let's see if he'll make a better deal for our Jade. And it's definitely more than Rome was willing to trade us, so let's see what the max we can get here from him is. Let's try 140. 130. Okay, so somewhere between 140 and 130. 138. Nice. Oops, shit. 139. Okay, so there we go. They'll take 139 for it. So we're going to go ahead and grab that right away. Now, that puts us at 267. And I think it's 330 to buy your first settler. Let me just double check here. 320 to buy your first settler. So, yeah, 5 turns until our settler is ready, and we're making 6 gold per turn. So that would be 30 more gold. So that would put us at 297, which would be 23 short. So then it would be 4 more turns. So I think what we'll do is we'll build our settler down to 1 turn left, and then we'll wait until we get over 320 gold. We'll buy a settler, and then the following turn we'll finish completing our settler here. And that'll give us 3 cities up very quickly, and that'll be a good springboard where we can just basically go completely aggressive on Rome now, and with any luck we'll be able to take them right out. Now I'm gonna have to remember to do that because I'm very bad at forgetting to switch out production. I wish you could set little like timers or reminders for yourself, but unfortunately it's just the dream, right? Alright, so we got those 2 quarries up and running. We'll head over across the river next turn to get our mine going. Now, with our warrior, I want to have it available basically when we do start going towards them. So I want to swing back up here because ideally now, if we are going to have 3 settlers, I want to try and find if there's any decent hills in production in this little area that we haven't discovered yet. Because ideally that would be nice to get our 3rd city, ideally in a perfect world we could get another city here that's going to be good for us, and then just head down towards Rome. So okay, so we discovered another barbarian camp, which is so here. We only have 1 out of 3 movements left, so I think I'm going to rest up while we're on a hill in case the spearmen decide to attack us, and then it should be fine for us to get the goody hut next turn. If we're lucky here, the Nazca warrior might even go attack them once more, and then we might be able to snipe the barb camp if we're lucky, but I'm not going to hold our breath there. So we're going to just keep moving up here with the warrior, as we already talked about. And we'll get the next mine, which boosts craftsmanship there for us. And now we're going to go ahead and clearly our scout there wasn't lucky enough to get a promotion before we switch policies, but getting into this new policy is definitely worth it as far as I'm concerned. And now, instead of going straight towards state workforce, as nice as it would be to get the governor title right away, I think we're better off going towards foreign trade in order to get that trader up. And that'll help build us a road down towards this area here, and not to mention getting us that extra culture, which in the long run will help us get to our different forms of governments and unlock those government titles sooner. Okay, so again, Tyler, remember, pay attention to the settler. I'm going to have to switch that next turn, so God willing I won't forget. Alright, so we're going to head over here. With any luck, like I said, the warrior will attack and we can swing in it and grab the gold. But, alright, so for once I'm not going to screw things up. I'm going to head over here and we're going to switch out of the slinger, we're going to switch out of the settler before it finishes, and we're going to start work on a slinger right away. Now again, we're going to skip the turn here with the scout, and hopefully next turn we can get super lucky. In the meantime, we'll head over here so we can fog blast over there and see what there is. So there does seem to be some decent production tiles here, and I'm sure we can definitely fit another city in around here. Probably right there, I would guess. But yeah, probably right there, because we won't be able to settle in there. Okay, so fingers crossed, everybody. Let's see if we can get this. Nice, and we did. So we also got the boost towards military tradition, which is somewhere where we were going to definitely be headed to get. In case you don't know, oops, it's in the civics. What am I doing? In case you don't know, that unlocks military tradition, which is nice because it gives you the maneuver policy card, which can help you get cavalry going real quick. But more importantly, it gives you the Strategos policy, so you can start earning great general points, and also grants flanking and support combat bonuses to all units, which is what we would really want it, as we're not going to be going to get a great general, because we're just basically would be attacking Rome and then kind of probably cooling our heels and doing either a science or culture victory of some sort. Okay, so I think we'll just go ahead and swing into the scout here. We're not going to kill it, but I was just going to say, but if we get lucky, they'll go and get pissed off and suicide into us if they happen to belong to that camp. So it seems like there might be another camp in this little fog area somewhere, so we were just going to tactfully reposition, as I would say, rather than run with our tail between our legs. In the meantime, we grabbed that bonus there. I didn't happen to see what it was, but I think it was money because we're over 320 here. So now we can go ahead and we're gonna buy. Oops, we're gonna buy our first settler. Oh shit. Okay, so it does look like there's archers too. So I would venture to say it's a pretty safe guess that there is a barbarian camp in there, which is going to complicate our life a little bit. I just want to take a quick look back here. Is there somewhere... You know what? There's still enough production back here that I think for now we're going to be better off just to... Oops. Just to get the city down rather than delay. So I think we're going to head up with the settler and go ahead and settle there quickly, and then pick either in here or right there for our third city before we start moving on the I was gonna say the Americans. Meanwhile, we are the Americans. All right, so we did manage to finally get our scout promoted here when we found that goody hut. So I'm gonna go ahead and give him the promotion. There's so many hills around. It's actually a toss-up realistically between the hills and the jungle and whatnot around here. But we're gonna go ahead and take the Alpine promotion for him. Okay, so we managed to get our slinger out. Now this settler's gonna go, and we'll finish the settler there for the next one. We got a few more turns to go because of the production requirement for settlers goes up every time you get a new one, just like the gold cost does. So that's why it's not at 1 turn, it's at 3 turns. Now we're gonna go ahead and move up here a little bit with our slinger, and if we get lucky, this scout might head down and we could possibly get a kill in with that. Other than that, we're gonna go ahead and turn, we're gonna go ahead and turn the scout here onto automated exploration and basically just concentrate on getting our warrior home safely if we can. It's gonna be awfully hard to do with that archer that was over there, so I'm kind of going out of my way to really loop around here instead of just headed back as quickly as we can that way. So we'll have to see here if we can do it. In the meantime, alright, so I'm guessing there's another barbarian camp up there. Now, I think rather than letting this settler, this is making me change my mind. Rather than letting this settler finish, it's going to take our population down, and it's really going to hamper our productivity. So for now, we're going to leave that settler with the 1 turn left and start building a slinger. This time it will stay at 1 settler, or at 1 settler. It will stay at 1 turn left on it for us. I just think it's a lot more important for us to get out military units as quickly as we can here. Now, the one good thing about this being that we're building these military units to deal with the barbarians, but we'd be building them anyways to go after the Romans. So essentially, this is just, as long as I can manage to not have our units killed, this is essentially just getting our units free experience to be that much more potent when we do go after the Romans. So hopefully I can do this without screwing up too badly over here. Now I think we're gonna fortify until healed there for 1 turn before we cross the river, rather than come in here. I think that opens us up to the archer down here more. Now I will head over 1 more square. We'll have to watch and see what... I was just going to say, we'll have to watch and see what the warrior does here. So their archer is nice and close, so we're going to retreat to the safety of our village here and start taking shots at them. Now, our settler should be good to pop over there. I don't think they'll be able to catch us. Peter here's pissed off because he has better science and whatnot than us.
The positive aspect of trade, I suppose.
So we went ahead and got foreign trade now, which is nice. We still, unfortunately, need to get a Pantheon, and we haven't yet, so we're going to be keeping God King in place, and I think I'm going to actually switch out a Gouge for Discipline, just because we are dealing with those Barbarians first, although it's a hard toss-up between production over combat strength, but considering that we do have a few units to play around with here, I think that 5 combat strength is going to be more useful to us than the little boost, well, not little, but than the 50% boost to production. But I'm inclined to switch out of it pretty soon here. Now, one thing to think about, as I mentioned earlier, so like this might look intimidating if you're a newer player right now, like, oh my god, like oh shit, what is he gonna do here? But this is really nothing to worry about. It's free experience for our units. As I had already mentioned, they can't do anything to our capital. Like, they can attack it to their heart's content with their warriors. They can beat it down to like a slimmer of health left, but they can't actually invade it or destroy it. It's like against the game scripting. So we are content to just sit here and take another shot at them. Now, I am purposely targeting this warrior here. The reasoning behind that being, he's already the weakest because he attacked over the river into the city the turn before. But next turn we're going to be having a slinger produced, and we won't be able to keep both of our units inside the city. We'll have to move one. So I'm going to move one to this tile right here, so I want the warrior that can actually attack them to be as injured as they can, because this guy here, even if he were to move, he'd still wouldn't be able to attack over the river that turn. So that's the reasoning behind me targeting this guy. Now that we have gotten foreign trade, I think we'll just go towards state workforce first, because we will end up getting the boost towards early empire, but it's going to take us a little bit longer here because we have to deal with this first. So again, like I said, I'm not really worried about anything. We're going to settle this city next turn here. Okay, so killing that barbarian gave us the boost there to bronze working, so that is nice, because we definitely want to get an encampment up here in Washington fairly quickly. Now, I'm going to be purposely, believe it or not, I'm going to be purposely not killing the warrior here with our slinger, because we don't want to boost this archery. We want to be able to build as many slingers as we can before we upgrade archery, so that we can save production. If you look at the production on this slinger here, I think it tells you, doesn't it? Okay, so sorry, if you look here, a builder cost, Jesus. If you look here, a slinger cost 35 production, but an archer costs 60 production. So it's you can almost get twice as many slingers as you can for one archer. So it makes a whole lot more sense for you to produce the lower unit here for the cheaper amount of production, and then to upgrade your units to archers later, especially considering it's only 60 gold to upgrade them anyway. So that is what we're doing here. I'm going to hopefully, like I said, get 4, possibly 5 slingers before upgrading if I can avoid it. But I mean, if it comes down to me almost losing something, then I'm obviously just going to take the kill shot. So speaking of taking the kill shot, I will go ahead and injure that warrior there. Now, they might attack over the river, and unfortunately I misclicked the wrong one. I want to click the slinger that was completely healthy, the new one, and move them over, but I made a mistake there. So unfortunately it's looking like that might cost us the slinger there, since it is so injured. We're going to go ahead and drop our city here now. And we'll start work on a slinger right away. Not to mention, like I said, I want to skip out of... I'm going to wait one more turn before skipping out of archery, so that way, even if we don't get a kill with a slinger, if we can avoid it until we have the right number of slingers built up, then I can just finish it in one turn, nice and easy. So we're finished the slinger here. We're just going to go ahead and continue on building more slingers in the capital. Alright, so we lucked out there. We ended up surviving the shot from the warrior, so that's good. Now, we're going to retreat over here and take the promotion. Now, personally, I mean, do what you want. I'm not your dad, but I would personally suggest going down the volley promotion line with your slingers and archers in the early game, because as long as you keep them alive and keep upgrading them, by the time they get to crossbowmen, when you're going to be using them to attack cities more often than not, you'll be able to switch over and get the emplacement thing if you want it, so they have better defenses. And having volley and then followed up by arrow storm allows your archers to be a lot more effective clearing out enemy units, which is obviously, it goes without saying, is super important to be able to do. The faster you can kill enemy units, the more likely your troops are to survive, and that's ultimately the trick in order to, like, playing on the harder difficulty levels especially, is to be able to get the most out of your units that you can, and ideally not to let them die. That's why it was going to be such a huge screw up on my part had this slinger died there, because I simply misclicked and sent the wrong out. That would have been a huge mistake that ultimately, like, I know it seems stupid that, okay, you know, having a slinger die isn't the end of the world, and yes, it's not. However, the slinger is 3 or 4 turns of production that's just gone to waste if you let it die. Not to mention the possible impact that the slinger is going to have later on in the game if he stays alive, becomes an archer, and how much more he can kill, etc. But anywho, we're going to keep going here. Now, I'm going to send the warrior back across here, and this is because basically I want to be able to retreat with my slinger around the corner here if the warrior does approach me, because we don't want them to suicide on us, because we don't want the boost to archery. Speaking of which, I'm fucking switching out of archery right now before I forget, because like I said, I'm notoriously bad for that. Now, I think what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to grab bronze working, since we got the boost towards it, and it'll allow us to get an encampment up, not to mention revealing iron, which could possibly be some more production if we can get mines on it. But then after that, we're going to head straight towards writing and get that up online so we can get that nice campus over there going. Alright, so taking a look here, I think we're doing okay with what we have going on. Now, we're just going to fortify with the slinger here, because I'm 99% sure, I'm not completely positive, but as long as we don't attack out, if this warrior happens to attack the city next turn and dies, I'm pretty sure we don't get the bonus to the slinger, because I think it technically counts that the city killed him, not the unit that's inside the city. But don't quote me on that one, I'm not completely sure. I guess it doesn't really matter, as the heat just ran across anyway and didn't attack into the city. But that's fine. Looks like the volcano over there is erupting, which is increasing tiles around there. So that's going to be nice for us eventually if we settle somewhere in there. Now, we're going to run across here like we talked about, and we're going to head towards the warrior with our warrior. We'll, instead of attacking though, we'll just heal up, and hopefully, there we go. Just as I was about to say, hopefully they'll suicide into us, which they were nice enough to do. So now we're going to go ahead here and head over with our slinger. I don't think their scout will suicide into us, because the camp that they're all spawning from is still alive. So I think we have that going for us right now. Like I said, ideally I want to get one more slinger here before we go ahead and get the bonus. Well, I should say one more slinger on top of the one that Philadelphia is building as well. Okay, so our scout is has headed up here all by himself. I think we're just going to go ahead and send him back down away from where all these barbarians are. Now, it's going to be awfully hard to avoid getting a kill with these units, especially considering they have more warriors coming down. And that thing I was mentioning earlier where you can't, they can't do shit to your city, that's only your capital city. They can very much burn down Philadelphia. They can burn it to the ground. So we need to get some units up there to be in a position to defend it. And that might end up taking us, or costing us, getting the archery promotion by forcing us to kill their warrior there. But if we can avoid it, I'm going to, by sending our warrior up to there instead. But again, you do what you can, but ultimately I'm going to just fucking kill them if I have to, if it comes down to between that and losing a city or something like that. But in the meantime, we're just going to sit here and fortify with this slinger where they are. With this slinger, we'll go ahead, since we will be able to take a shot, we'll go ahead and move closer towards Philadelphia, because we can't kill them in one turn. That is music to my ears here. We've finally got the Pantheon, which means we can switch off of the policy God King now. Then as soon as we get a change in our civics. Now, as far as what we have available here. Alright, now let's take a look and see what we have available here as far as the Pantheons go. God of the Forge would be nice if it's there, and it is, to give us that extra 25% production towards ancient and classic military units here. Another nice pickup for us would be religious settlements. And that way we could get an extra settler up real quick and have 4 cities before we attack them. However, I think in this situation specifically, because our plans did get delayed so much by all the barbarian activity, that we will go ahead and take God of the Forge here. We still have that one settler that we basically been holding on to in Washington, that they're one turn away from completing. So I think 3 cities is more than enough before we start taking over some of the Roman ones for ourselves. So we'll go ahead and grab God of the Forge here. Now, they've decided to be nice enough to move up with their archer here, so we're going to attack them with the slinger. And I was just going to say, and I don't think we'll be powerful enough to kill them in one shot, and it looks like I was right. However, they are going to be able to start taking pot shots at us now, so we are going to run our troops away out of their range as quickly as we can. However, next turn when the slinger is here, they'll be able to shoot at it because we'll have to move one of them out of the protection of our city. So we're going to go ahead and keep moving with our slinger here and get them into Philadelphia. Okay, so the archer actually headed away, which is nice. It gives us the chance here to keep working on getting our slingers out. You know what? I am going to take advantage of that, and I'm actually going to build one more slinger here before we go ahead and pop actually, you know what? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's going to be 5 when Philadelphia finishes. No, I'm changing my mind. We're going to go ahead and pick up a trader here and start working towards that so that we can get that +2 culture from completing the quest towards Vilnius. And not to mention, it's going to start building a roads down here. Now we'll just have to send troops with it in order to keep it safe, but in the meantime we'll just keep our slinger fortified in the city, and with our warrior we'll keep headed north towards Philadelphia. I think everything else is pretty much good where it stands right now. Okay, so it looks like our scout is finally starting to make it into territory that we haven't seen before again, so that's good. I think I'll let him actually heal up quickly for a turn there. Alright, so they took a shot at our slinger there, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and run out of their territory. With our scout here, we're going to move one step closer and then heal up again to finish the turn. But now, what I was meaning by that is them attacking our slinger, while it did damage our slinger, it actually gave the slinger combat experience, and you only need to have 3 slots of combat experience before you get a promotion. So that's actually nice for us. We're going to alternate them here, and we're going to get this slinger to heal up, and we'll give them a fresh slinger to actually target an attack for next turn, and hopefully they'll do that as well. So now our warrior over here is getting closer. We're actually in our territory, so we'll heal up there. And now we'll go ahead here and attack with our slinger. This shouldn't kill it though. And we'll let them go ahead and suicide onto either our warrior or the city there. Now, again, we're going to let them take one more shot at our slinger here while that one heals up. So we're just going to go ahead and fortify until healed. And then we'll get them to run into the city. We'll get them to run into the city here, and we'll flip-flop them out. And then next turn, once this slinger's done in Philadelphia, then we'll finally go ahead and knock this archer off and get the archery tech complete. And that way will maximize, you go ahead and fortify, that way it'll maximize the amount of experience that we can get. And again, here we'll just fortify with our warrior. Okay, so they killed themselves on us there. Unfortunately, we got a Dark Age. But that was kind of unavoidable with the situation we ran into with the barbarians here. I honestly don't think it's going to be that hard to overcome. When I get a Dark Age this early in the game, I look forward to the heroic age that usually comes on the other end of it, like 99.9% of the time. Especially when it is so early in the game like this. I mean, it's so easy to just switch into free inquiry here. Now, I'd always suggest that you do switch into free inquiry when you're headed into a classical era, Dark Age, or normal age for that matter, because it's easier for you to get the era score from free inquiry for getting Eurekas than it is for pen, brush, and voice or anything else, because for one, even if you have a religion set up at this point, you're not going to be generating that much faith where you're going to be converting tons and tons of cities. So if you do go for the religious route, I'd suggest waiting to use Exodus of the Evangelist until the medieval era, because by that time you're starting to generate enough faith that you'll actually be able to produce missionaries and apostles and stuff like that, where you can get more use of that era score. And so I would suggest taking free inquiry. I just think all around it's way better route to go. The only exception being if you happen to have gotten, like, say, some sort of world wonder that's in your territory generating an absurd amount of culture, then I would definitely say that pen, brush, and voice would be worth the pick in that case. Not to mention if you were to go like Pingala for your governor or something and take the promotion there where is it? Pingala, take the promotion connoisseur there where it gets you extra culture. Like those would be situations where I would consider it. So anyways, with that being said, we've taken our dedication. Now we can finally stop holding ourselves back here. It worked out well too that our trader's done, so we're going to go ahead and finish the settler next turn. We're going to go ahead and kill the archer there, which will give us the boost to archery, which is nice. We're going to go ahead and upgrade this slinger first here since they're nearby, and we're going to be wanting to go south with this. So unfortunately, where we want to settle is gone. The Romans decide to screw that up for us, but it looks like they actually took a half-decent city this time around, so that's fine. We'll just have to go with plan B here. We'll open up our settler menu, or our settler lens rather, sorry, and take a look, and I think we'll go ahead and settle right here. Now, the reasoning behind settling here is we'll have a nice tile right away there with the truffles. Same thing with one there. Once we get the rice online, it'll give us a nice source of food, and it's a healthy amount away from them for loyalty. Since we are in a dark age, it's going to be very hard for us to hold a grip on our cities. So that gives us a little bit of breathing room there, as there's no negative penalty right now. So that is why I'd be choosing that location rather than the one that's closer that I was originally thinking about. So we finally did go ahead and get archery now, which is nice. We're going to keep going here. We'll have bronze working in another 3 turns. Same thing with state workforce. We'll have that in 3 turns, so we'll be able to switch out of the discipline policy card and actually choose one that's going to be more effective. Now we're going to start work on a builder here in Philadelphia. We want to get their mines up and running, and same thing with a pasture on the cattle over there, in order to get the production up so that they can start building military units faster. Now that we do have our troops here, we're going to go looking for those barbarians, and there they are. With any luck, we'll be able to kill this camp fairly easily, and that will be 3 air score there, and then we'll head over this way. And are we within 6 tiles now that we formed Philadelphia? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. So it'll work out nice. We'll kill these two different barbarian camps that are within 6 tiles of us now, so that'll be +6 air score just for that alone. Now let's take a look here and see if we can manage to get 9 more gold somehow. Let's talk to the Russians here. What would it take? Yeah, what would it take for 100 gold? They won't do it. And I'm assuming that the Romans won't either. What would it take? They won't do it either. Alright. Oh, unfortunately, we'll just have to wait in order to get the next 60 gold so we can upgrade our warriors here. Now, we're going to go ahead and send this to Vilnius, like we said. It'll give us +3 gold per turn, but it'll start building the road. It'll give us the boost towards currency here, which is actually another era score for us. And now we'll go ahead and we're going to send the settler on his way down there, and we're going to start sending our slinger over here. Now it does have a promotion, so we'll go ahead and grab that now, which will bring it back to full health. Looks like the Romans have some troops nearby, so we should be prepared for them to come get rowdy with us, and in order to start getting ready to do that, we'll move our troops forward here. We are going to leave these ones in the back, mind you, because we want to clear them out as quickly as we can. So here we're going to pop over to that tile there. It's leaving us open to be attacked next turn, but that's fine. I think we should be okay here between how damaged they get for attacking us, and then our attack with the warrior, and then again with the slinger. I think we'll be able to finish them off a-okay next turn. So in Washington, we finished that settler, which is nice. We're going to go ahead and build a builder here as well, and that is because we want to help get this city up and running as quickly as we can, and we still have 2 more turns until we can build an encampment anyways, which we will be doing very shortly afterwards. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and turn this scout onto automated exploration now that he's all nice and healed up there. And as I said, we want to keep an eye on the Romans here. We do want to go to war with them, but we want to be ready to go to war with them when we do, if we can plan to do that. So we've gotten state workforce. We finally unlocked a governor tile, which is nice. We can finally get rid of God King now that we don't need it. And as far as what policy we're going to take, we're definitely switching into. Actually, you know what? Let's switch into Ilcum, since we're building builders in 2 of our cities right now. It just makes sense to get that plus 30% production, and we'll leave discipline in because we're clearing out those barbarian camps, although I'd like to switch to a Goj. It's going to be a while before we're producing more units since we've just finished getting all of our slingers and still have to upgrade them. So speaking of our governors though, I think what we're going to do is go ahead and grab Magnus. Now I had been considering going Pingala because getting that extra culture early is nice, but I want to be able to get the Groundbreaker because we're going to be harvesting a couple tiles to help speed things up here in the capital. It'll be nice to have, not to mention when we do want to pivot and start producing a bunch of settlers in the near future once we get it. Once we continue on with our conquest of the Romans there, it'll be nice to be able to go into provision here so it won't take away from our, and that way it won't take away from our product, and that way it won't take away from our population as much. So we're going to go ahead and appoint Magnus in Washington there. They still got a few more turns before their slingers out anyways. The builder, I mean. So what we're going to do is we'll head there, we'll harvest this stone once Magnus is in there, because there's really no need for it. I think it while they have improved the stone quarries, and I'm more inclined to keep ones on hills, etc. more likely now, I think it is still a great resource to harvest because the production is absolutely amazing, and it's going to go a long way in order to help us get our encampment out and then go from there. Speaking of encampments, this is where we're going to go ahead and place that encampment, is right here. And that is because it's a nice forward position headed towards the Romans here, so it'll be good for defense. And it's actually pretty close to where we're going to be settling our third city here as well, so that it should give a little bit of coverage there if the Romans decide to get aggressive with us. So now that we have all that taken care of, normally I always beeline it for political philosophy, but I think I'm going to make an exception here, and I'm going to go ahead and grab military tradition before we head towards political philosophy, and that's because I really want to get the flanking and support combat bonuses up, because I'm pretty sure that the Romans are going to get aggressive with us here fairly shortly, and I want to have as many advantages against them as I can, especially considering that their legions are going to be coming in the next little bit here. Having every sort of combat advantage we can is definitely useful. So it looks like the spearmen thought better about coming out and attacking, so we'll go ahead and hit them with our slinger here while we move our warrior closer. Now again, we're just going to keep headed out towards the Romans with our units here. We'll move one more step and then heal up the archer there. Meanwhile, again, we're just going to get closer and closer here with our units. We can upgrade another one, and I think rather than upgrade the slinger, I'd rather have one of the slingers that are up at the front upgrade to archers quicker. So we'll hold on for one more turn, and next turn we'll upgrade this slinger here, since they're they've already received a promotion anyway. Okay, so we got bronze working here. So let's take a look around, and we have an iron there, which is nice. We'll be able to expand there pretty quickly and get that up and running. Unfortunately, it's looking like that's pretty well it as far as I can tell. I mean, you can always just use the map search here. And yeah, we only have the one iron that we've discovered so far, so we'll be able to get that up online in the near future. We'll go ahead and attack once with the slinger here. Wait, we don't have a promotion, right? Or no, yeah, never mind. We'll go ahead and attack once with the slinger here for some more experience, and now they have a promotion available, and then we'll finish clearing it up. Actually, you know what? No, we won't, because we'll be wasting experience. In case you don't know, if you have a promotion available and you attack, you don't get any experience whatsoever until you end up taking your promotion. So it's always a good opportunity to go ahead and do that. Now, under the Warriors promotion here, I personally like to go with Tortoise first. I actually, on most of my melee units, I almost always get Battlecry and Tortoise on them, but I usually go for Tortoise first because I find between, you know, cities having ancient walls up fairly quickly, not to mention archers and shit floating around, that I would rather have the plus 10 combat strength when defending against range attacks, which will help my warriors be more durable and last longer until I can get them the battle cry promotion to get that extra combat strength. So that's the reasoning behind what I generally do most times with my melee units. But again, I mean, it's realistically, it's a matter of personal preference. There's pros and cons either way you look at it. Now, we'll go ahead and start sending the slinger out this way so we can get to work on this barbarian camp over there in the near future. And now that we have bronze working taken care of, so we can get our encampment started, we'll head towards writing. But speaking of which, what we want to do is go ahead and actually lock the production cost of our encampment in. In case you don't know, you can lock in the price of your districts, because your districts go up the further into the game you get, the more production that your districts end up costing you. So like the more the more technologies that you discover and civics, etc., the cost goes up and up and up. So whenever you can, when your cities hit a new population level, so like they can build one district early on, then another one when they hit 4, you want to lock those districts into place as quickly as you can here. So all we have to do is come over here, we'll choose the encampment, we're going to place it where we were planning to, right there. Now they've started it, so it's the production price is locked in where it is. So you could sit here now, switch to something else, and come back and build this, you know, in the atomic age to exaggerate a little bit in order to prove the point, and it would still be this amount of production here, the 83. So we're going to go ahead and switch back to the builder now and finish that up. In the meantime, we'll take this slinger here and we'll get them to go into our territory so they can get upgraded next turn. We're going to keep moving with our settler there. So it looks like the Russians are coming over with their missionaries here. They're going to convert us. I am definitely okay with that. So we'll go ahead and drop that city now. We've got the boost towards early empire, so that's nice. Meanwhile, in New York, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and just start us on start working towards a monument right away, so that we can get our culture increased a little bit. Not to mention that we're going to be having this builder here come down to help them after we harvest that stone over there. And again, this is because we want it to take advantage of our production policy that we have on. Like right now, we have the Ilkham slotted in where we're getting plus 30% production on our builders. So we're going to head straight into another builder right after this one. And then when we chop the stone over here, we'll get that much more production bonus of it, 30% more production, because we'll be applying it to a builder. They have changed. Magnus isn't as good as it used to be back in when Rise and Fall first came out, but they still definitely is nice. So it looks like we're good to go and get the promotion there. Again, we are headed towards the Barbarian Camp here, but we want to take it nice and easy. So I'm only moving one tile at a time because we don't want to get bum rushed by them. And now over here, we'll go ahead and take that promotion with our slinger, and we'll finish the camp off with our warrior. So we got the nice +3 arrow score. As I said, the reason for it being +3 rather than +2 is because it's within 6 tiles of a city. So if you can plan around it, always try and drop a city before you clear out a camp. It's a lot better off for you to leave a camp and get a city close to it for that extra arrow score, unless you're going to, say, completely miss out on that arrow score altogether. You always got to be careful that you don't get sniped. And as you can see here, it looks like the Romans are planning to come settle some more cities by us here. And I mean, it is what it is. It looks like they have a couple tiles that they can settle here, which we're okay with, because as far as I'm concerned, it's just getting our empire closer and closer together, as these are going to end up being our cities in the long run. So we finished that builder here in the capital. We're going to go ahead and head straight back into another builder, as we're only going to be keeping Ilkham on for 2 more turns. And we're going to head over to harvest that stone next turn. Meanwhile, I want to have my troops around, but I don't want to have them in completely out in the open where they can declare a surprise attack on us and then, like, say, deal lots of damage to my archers immediately if I can avoid it. And we just crossed the $60 threshold here, so we're going to go ahead and bump that archer up there, which happens to also give us the boost towards machinery, which is another era score for us here. So we're already only 4 era score away from a normal age, and then we only have to get to 33 in order for a heroic age, which I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to do if we were playing it to 50 turns, I should say. But with that being said, if you are enjoying the video so far, it would do me a huge favor if you'd leave a quick like on the video. It goes a long way to helping a small channel like me get discovered, and I'd appreciate it. But anywho, we're going to keep moving in here. As I said, we're going to inch a little bit closer here. Unfortunately, they will be able to attack us if they move out, so I'm just going to go ahead and fortify. Now, we didn't see that they had a quadrime in the area, and they do, so we're just going to respectfully get the fuck out of dodge, and we'll back up a little bit here and wait for our reinforcements to come close. And we'll also keep in mind that we'll keep our units away from the shoreline as best as we can now that we know they have the ship there. So we can still clear that. We just have to be a little bit more cautious when we're doing so. So I'm going to go ahead and move the archer over here onto the hills now. It's a nice defensible terrain. If they do want to attack us, they're attacking over a river with that warrior. So it is a little bit better, not to mention we have more troops over this way. So we'll move this archer into the city, and next turn that archer will be even closer. So if they do decide to get frisky with us, at least we have quite a few units in the vicinity that can kind of unleash hell on them. So we've gotten military tradition, so now we have the flanking and support combat bonuses unlocked, which I really want to do. As far as our tiles go, as far as our government policies, our cards, we're going to switch them out now. We're getting rid of Ilkham, and we're going to put in urban planning. It's especially more valuable. Like, we're not going to be building builder. Oh, wait, shit. Cancel. Are you sure you want to close menu? Yes. Before we do that, I almost screwed it up. I'm bad for that. We want to harvest this stone now, because we're going to get that. We still technically have Ilkham slotted in, even though we're going to change it. So we're going to get an extra 30% production out of... Oh, no, we're not. I totally forgot that we hadn't got masonry yet. So this was a giant waste of time. But I guess now that he's over here, we'll go ahead and build a quarry so that they have a little bit better production. Actually, you know what? We're better off just saving the build charges. We'll get the builder to head over here to where we're going to be building our campus eventually. That was a bit of an oversight on my part, but we're going to be switching out of we're going to be switching out of that policy card now, anyways, because it's, as I was originally going to be saying there, especially the more cities you get, the more important this +1 production in all cities ends up being, right? Because we're ending up getting +3 production now, and that the more cities you have out, obviously, the more important it is and the more useful the card gets. Now, as far as our military policy, I think, seeing as how we're not really building military units right now anyways, that will be okay. Keeping discipline in for one more cycle here at least. We have most of our slingers that we just need to upgrade to archers, and while I would want to get another warrior or two before we go ahead and attack the Romans, I think that's a little ways off, as we need to finish improving our tile slots here around the city. Sorry, finish improving our tile slots here around the cities in order to increase their production. But now, with that being said, I am going to go ahead and, since we're not going to have the money to buy these tiles for a while anyways, I'm going to go ahead and move him up here, and with we're going to manage the citizens in Philadelphia and swap the tile, because the reason I wasn't going to do that and improve that earlier and sent them was because Washington's population was at 3, and they already have 3 tiles here which they were working, which would be better than that, or either better or the same. So until their population gets to 4 in another 11 turns, it's really not going to do much of anything for them. But now that we switch it to Philadelphia, it will actually help Philadelphia out a little bit before, since they still have 5 turns left until their builder gets out and can help them over there. So again, we're just going to sit. We're just going to sit there and be vigilant. Now, I guess the spearmen have continued to pursue our slinger, so that is all fine and dandy. We're gonna retreat back to here. I don't think they'll be able to kill us in one attack, sorry, because we did go ahead and get that combat support bonus while it was cutting it pretty closely here. I was pretty comfortable that we were going to survive. Now we'll retreat them into the city, and that'll just help. That attack helps get them more experience here. Meanwhile, it opens up the spearmen to an attack from that slinger, and then we'll finish them off with the warrior there. So now, as we already talked about, we definitely be headed back towards the Barbarian Camp here, but we definitely have to keep in mind to stay away from the shores, because they have the quadrime there, but it only has a range of 1, not 2, so it can't do shit to us where we are. Alright, so again, we'll just keep the archer nice and ready there in case the Romans do want to get aggressive with us. If you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell to keep up with the channel. But with that being said, we just hit turn 50 out of 50, so it's going to be, we're going to wrap things up here. But as you can see, we got things under control, even though we had a bit of a rough start with the barbarians there. I might have played things a little bit too greedily going for that builder first off. Maybe I should have went for a settler first and then a slinger and builder. But, oh well, you can't go back and change things. I think all in all, we did okay. And we're pretty much in a slot where we're primed up now to start a war with the Romans as soon as we get a few more slingers upgraded. And that should be a lot easier to do as we are getting on and increasing our gold per turn here. So yeah, I just want to say thanks for watching. But yeah, I just wanted to thank you for watching. If you have any questions or concerns or anything you'd like to see me do in the future, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd like to do my best to help you if I can. And other than that though, I'll shut up and see you in the next video.